Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another scripting tutorial. So in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to make a pretty good punch system. I know I made a video about this in the past. It was a pretty popular video, but that script is frankly very bad. So this script is going to work a lot better. It's going to be a lot better, and it's actually going to work. Before we start, I want to say sorry if you hear a fan in the background because it's like 90 degrees and it's hot, so I have a fan on. Alright, so let's start. So for starters, we want to add a script into server script service. We can name this script server. Or actually, let's do punch server. Then we could add a script into starter character script. You can find that inside of starter player. So starter character script, we want to add a local script. We can name this punch client. And now we can add a folder into into replicated storage, my bad. And we can name this, let's do remotes. And then we could also add a remote event into it. We can name this punch. So that's everything that isn't scripting, besides the animations. So let's start. Actually, we could also add an animation into the punch client. So we could add an animation, and this will be where we store our punch. So inside of the punch client script, we're going to want to get input service because that's how we're going to detect the punch. So we can type local user input service is equal to game get service user input service. Now we also want to get a few variables, make a few variables for the player. So we do local player is equal to game.players.local player. We could get the character, which how you want to get the character is you want to type player.character. But sometimes the character doesn't load right away, so you want to type player.character or player.character added and then wait, just like that. This way, if the character didn't load, we wait over here until it loads. We want to also get the humanoid root part, so we can do local root is equal to character, wait for child, humanoid root part. Alright. So that should be all of our variables done besides our settings. So we'll add some settings. So we'll do local damage. We'll make that 5. We'll do local deb, which is going to be the debounce. Actually, I'm going to type debounce. Local debounce. So debounce is how long you have to wait before before you can fire another punch. And then we'll do local keybind. So keybind, we're going to do local keybind is equal to enum.keycode. And then we want to do dot your keybind. So we could do dot, let's do F. So now that the settings are done, we can make the actual input detection. So we could do user input service dot input began connect function. Now inside of the function, you want to type input and then busy. If you don't know how user input service works and you want to learn how it works, I have a tutorial on it. It will be linked in the description and on screen right now. So now what we want to do is we want to type if input.keycode is equal to enum or actually we just want to type if input.keycode is equal to keybind and not busy, then and you should get an end over here. Now if you want this script to work with like whenever you click, you want to type user input type. User input type. And then over here in the keybind, you want to change enum.keycode to enum.user input type. And then you want to type .mouse button 1. There we go. Now it will detect whenever you click on your mouse. I will keep it as F for now though, like just the keybind. Now that this is done, we can get the animation, which I forgot to do. So let's do local animation is equal to character wait for child humanoid. So this will get the player's humanoid. And then we could do load animation script.animation. So this will load the animation. Alright, now let's add another variable. So local can punch. So we'll do local can punch is equal to true. And we'll type if can punch is equal to true. Then we could do can punch is equal to false. I cannot type right now. And then we could do wait debounce. Then we can do can punch is equal to false. So what this is doing, is equal to true. So we'll have the debounce as 5 seconds. So we detect whenever we click on the keybind, which is F, and then we check if can punch is equal to true. If it is, we're setting it to false. This way, if you press again right after pressing it the first time, if you press it twice really quickly, that it doesn't fire again. And then we wait the debounce amount, which is 5 for now. and then we make it so, and then we set can punch to true. This way you can punch again. So that's how a debounce works. Now let's do the animation. So over here we could just do animation play, and we also want to type animation dot looped is equal to false. This way, in case you accidentally looped your animation, it doesn't actually loop when playing. Now we want to do one more thing. We could do game.replicated storage dot remotes, and then we want to type dot punch, so we get this remote event, and then we type fire server. I also have a tutorial on remote events. I will also put that on screen right now. Now inside of the remote event, we want to send how much damage the punch does, so we'll type damage. And that should be it for the client. So now everything else will be on the punch server. So we want to detect when the punch remote event was fired. So we'll type game.replicated storage.remotes.punch. Then we want to type .onServer event connect function. Now the first function parameter will be player, and then we want to have damage, which is going to be how much damage you do. Now on the server, we're going to detect what player we want to damage. So we're going to type for I target in pairs game.players get players do. So this is going to loop through all the players, and we're basically going to check if a certain player is within a certain distance to the player. If they are, then they will get damaged. So we'll type if target.name is not equal to player.name. This way you don't punch yourself. Then we could do, we want to type if target.character.humanoid root part dot position. Then we could copy this. So copy that, and then we do minus this, but instead of target, we have player. Then we type dot magnitude. That's not how you spell it. Magnitude. We could do is lower than, let's say, 5. So what we're doing here is whenever we fire the remote event, we fire this function, detect it over here, and then we loop through all of the players in the game, and then we check if the player is not you. This way, if it's like a player that isn't you, then we check if that player is within 5 studs from you, then we will damage them. So then we'll do target.character.humanoid .health minus equals damage. Now this isn't going to work on NPCs, it's only going to work on players. But if we want to make it work for NPCs, let's do this. So if we want it to work for NPCs, you don't have to do this, this is just an example for if you want it to work on NPCs, which I'm going to make it work for NPCs. We'll do for IV and target, instead of game.players get players, we want to type, so we could get rid of that, we want to type game.workspace get descendants. This will loop through everything inside of the workspace. So let's say there's a model inside of a model, it'll loop through the model inside the model, it'll loop through everything. So now we want to type if target find first child, or sorry, if we want to check if target is a humanoid root part, or is a humanoid, my bad, and target.parent.name, I can't type, so if target is a humanoid root part, and target.parent.name is not player.name, then if target, we want to change character.parent, so if target.parent.humanoid root part.position, blah, 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 then we could do just target.health minus equals damage. So what we're doing here is, over here, we're looping through everything inside a workspace. If there's a humanoid, or if the whatever the script is currently on, because it loops through everything in order, if it's a humanoid, and the parent of the humanoid, so the name of the model is not the player's name, meaning, because your character goes inside a workspace whenever you play, so we don't want you to punch yourself. So if it's not your name, then we check if the character's position, or if the distance between the character and the human and the player is lower than 5, meaning they're within 5 studs, it will damage them. So again, this over here is to damage a player. This over here is to damage a player / NPC. So this should also work on players. So I guess we could just use this. I'm sorry about the first loop, but this should work fine. So now I guess we can test this out. So actually, before we test this, we need a punch. So let me quickly animate one. So if you don't know how to make an animation, you can get Moon Animator. It's probably the best animator. You could use the Roblox animator though, but I rather use Moon Animator. So we'll insert my character. Now we will open up Moon Animator, and I will create a new animation. Alright, I think I have the animation done. So this should actually be a bit slow, I think. So let me select all this, and let me make it a bit faster. This is the only way I know how to make it faster though. So yeah, there we go. It's still a bit slow, so let me speed it up a little bit if I can. There we go. So there we go. I'm not an animator, so it's not really good, but whatever, it's fine. It'll do. So, by the way, if you're wondering if this will work for R6, it will. It will work with any type of character, but you'll just need to make the animation for R6. This is currently R15. So now we could go to Item, Export, and now over here, I'll export the animation. Now here you could see the animation thing. So it's named punch underscore AccessQ. So I'm just gonna name this punch tutorial 2021, and now we'll have a description, tutorial on how to make a punch system, and then we'll have the creator as me, so you can select if you want it to be from a group or yeah, just you or a group, and then we could submit this. Now we'll copy the animation ID. Now if we close this, so if we put the animation in here, there we go, the animation ID. So now the animation should work. So if we play now, I don't think I could damage this NPC because it's not set up with a health system, but I could try. Oh, looks like we got an error. Animation is not a valid member of punch.client or punch client. Okay. So what we want to do here is just script wait for child animation. So that should fix it. So if we play again, all right, there we go. We load it in. So if we press F, there we go. It punches. So it should, I can't punch again because I have to wait 5 seconds. There we go. So I don't think I could damage this character because of, it's not really a, oh, well, also its name is AccessQ. So it wouldn't work because you can't punch an NPC if its name is your name. So let's name him John. Now, if we punch John, I still don't think it'll work because, as I said, he doesn't have like a health system. So, oh, it does work. It just doesn't display. So you'll see his health went down by 5. You'll see health right over here, 90. Now, oh, whoops. So it's 90 right now. If I punch again, it goes down to 85. All right, perfect. So it is working. Now let me grab a NPC. Like, let's do this zombie. Now I don't want this zombie to chase after me, although whatever. Let's make the damage like 20. This way it's noticeable. And we'll also make it so you can punch him from 8 studs away. I feel like that's a good distance. So now if we close the script, we can delete the character. Now if I play all the way over here, because I don't want him to run after me before I even load. Alright, here we go. So there's the zombie. If I walk up to it, you'll see, oh god, it chases me. If I punch it, you'll see, there we go, takes damage. Now, I can't punch because I have the debounce, but if I punch again, there we go, takes more damage. Now, I could punch again, or again, there we go. Now, he's on yellow HP. He does a lot of damage as well. Wow. So we could just come back. Yeah, so the debounce is a bit long, 5 seconds. It's a bit long. Oh, I was too far that time. So let me see if I could anchor him because I don't want him to run after me. There we go. So now we're within 8 studs. So now if we punch him, you'll see how he takes damage. So 8 studs is this big. So the range is 8 by 8 by 8. So you could change this to whatever you want. This is just how I set it. So basically, if any NPC, whoops, oh god, what am I doing? If any NPC is within this distance from me, I should be able to punch them. So punch right here, or F, there we go. So you could change it to whatever you want. You could do 5, 5, 5 as it was before, which that's a pretty good distance. because I don't know, I feel like that's a pretty good distance. But anyways, yeah, that's basically the punch system. So as you can see, we could punch him, and this is on the server, not the client. So if they die, he actually dies. So it's filtering enabled, I guess. So just to show you, I'm gonna punch him a few more times until he, well, dies. There we go. One more punch should kill him. And any second now, there we go. And there we go, he died. So he died on the client as well as the server. So on the server he disappears because that's how he scripted. Oh no, he just disappeared on the client as well. Whatever. Well, that's how it, yeah. And also if you type in chat, so let's say I type fight, it doesn't actually fire the punch because it only fires if you actually press it. Anyways, a quick recap. Let me delete the zombie. So we have a local script inside a starter character script, which is inside a starter player. We have an animation inside of the punch client. Now the punch client code is this. So we get user input service to detect the input. We get the player, the character. Actually, we don't need to get the root. We could delete this. So we get the player, the character, the animation. We have all the settings over here. Don't worry about the punch setting. If you want to disable the punch system, you could basically set this to false, and it shouldn't work. Over here we have the key code, which the keybind. Over here we have the debound, so how long before you can punch again, and how much damage the punch does. Over here we detect the input, and we play the animation, and we do the debounce, and we also fire a remote event with the damage as the information. And then we have a server script inside a server script service, which basically is this. So it detects whenever the remote event was fired, it loops through everything in workspace. If it's a humanoid and it's not your humanoid, and it's within a certain range. So I'm going to change this back to 5. Then it will damage it. We also have a folder named remotes with a remote event, which is called punch in replicated storage. That's it. I hope this tutorial helped you. Make sure to like and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next scripting tutorial. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.